A 20-year-old ranked 31st in the world just took over the 5th biggest tennis tournament on the planet. Not with a racket, before she even touched one. That's what Alex Eala did this week. And California has not been the same since the moment she arrived. Here's what makes no sense on paper. A player ranked 31st shouldn't be the biggest story at a tournament that has the world number 1, past Grand Slam champions, and one of the deepest draws in women's tennis. She shouldn't be the reason ticket prices explode. She shouldn't be the reason security teams get doubled at a practice court. She shouldn't be the reason that fans, grown adults, are pressing up against barriers, climbing on each other just to get a glimpse of her walking from one end of the facility to the other. But she is. And the reason is far bigger than tennis. Let's start with the money, because the numbers coming out of Indian Wells right now are almost impossible to believe. On a normal Monday morning before the BNP Paribas Open begins, you can pick up a stadium pass for the opening rounds for somewhere between $60 and $80. That has been the market for years. Veteran fans know that. Season ticket holders expect it. There are people who have been coming to this tournament for 2 full decades without ever paying more than that for a session. Not this year. As of this Monday, March 2nd, net tickets for any session that could feature Alex Eala are being resold on StubHub and SeatGeek for $400, $600, and in some courtside cases, over $1,000. For the early rounds of a tournament she hasn't even started yet. Let that sit for a second. Analysts are already calling it the Eala inflation. And tournament organizers, people who have run this event for decades, are reportedly in a state of genuine shock. They've never seen a player ranked 31st command more financial power at the gate than the world number 1. Not once. Not in the entire history of this tournament. So why is this happening? Why does a 20-year-old from Manila do something to this tournament that Aryna Sabalenka, the reigning world number 1, simply does not? The answer is driving in from every direction across California right now. And the Filipino diaspora in the United States is one of the largest communities of its kind anywhere in the world. And this week, they have decided that Indian Wells is not Sabalenka's home court, not Iga Swiatek's, not anyone else's. It is Alex Eala's. Thousands of fans are descending on the Coachella Valley from San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, some flying in directly from Manila, and they are willing to pay any price to be there when she steps on the court. The flags are everywhere, blue, red, and yellow, spread across the grounds before a ball has been struck. The chants echo through the desert heat, and the sound of that chanting, Laban Pilipinas, carries a weight that goes well beyond a tennis tournament. But here's what really stopped people cold. This morning, when Alex Eala stepped onto court 3 for her practice session, the crowd was so dense that security teams had to be doubled on the spot. Fans were pressing forward, or climbing on each other just to get a look at her moving through her warm-up. The noise in that practice court, before the main draw has even officially begun, was louder than most tournament finals anywhere on the WTA Tour this year. Imagine walking into that. The wall of sound before the door even opens. The chanting, the flags rippling in waves, the phones raised all around you. And in the middle of all of it, a 20-year-old in her Nike Sampaguita gear, focused, composed, while going through her routine like it's any other Tuesday. That is who Alex Eala is right now. That is the composure we are watching. And the reason this crowd exists at all comes down to one number, 31. By reaching world number 31, Eala did something no Filipino player in the history of the sport had ever done before. She walked into a WTA 1000 tournament as a seeded player. That seed gives her a first-round bye, her debut match is scheduled for March 6th, and it means the entire ticket explosion is concentrated on that single date. Fans aren't gambling on a maybe. They are paying $300, $400, $500 for the guaranteed opportunity to watch a moment that the sport has never seen before. The experts have never seen this. A player at number 31 generating more economic disruption at the box office than the players ranked above her. But the crowd coming through those gates isn't looking at a ranking. They're looking at their queen. And the story doesn't stop at the ticket window. Not even close. Because in the corporate world, something even larger is happening at the same time. Just days ago, Alex Eala visited the Nike World Headquarters in Beaverton, Oregon. And the details of what happened during that visit have started to leak into the industry. Nike didn't just welcome a promising young athlete to tour the campus. Insiders are whispering about a long-term endorsement deal, a number quietly circulating in the corporate corridors, somewhere between $45 and $75 million. Let that land for a moment. Nike has reportedly pivoted its entire Gen Z global marketing strategy toward the Filipina queen. She walked through Nike's history display in Oregon, the walls of legacy, the icons, the moments that define the brand, and she wasn't being treated as a future prospect. She was being positioned as the successor, the next name in the lineage of Serena Williams and Maria Sharapova. That is the bet Nike is placing on her right now. And this morning, the market responded in real time. When the official Indian Wells Tennis Garden stores opened their doors today, the Alex Eala Signature Sampaguita collection, featuring the national flower of the Philippines woven into the design, was gone. Ink wiped completely off the shelves before most of the crowd had even made it through the main gates. Here's the number that is making the industry stare at their screens. Eala's merchandise is currently outselling the gear of the top 5 ranked players in the world. Combined, top 10 players are reportedly watching this unfold in real time, and they are not pleased. Nike isn't looking at rankings. They are looking at more than 100 million Filipinos spread across the globe, every single one of them ready to buy anything with Eala's name on it. That is a market no WTA ranking has ever been able to quantify, and the economic shockwave is now reshaping the entire region around Indian Wells. Tournament organizers are reporting that for the first time in the history of the BNP Paribas Open, the majority of hotel bookings and restaurant reservations in the Coachella Valley are coming from international fans. Manila, Singapore, cities across the United States. This isn't just a bigger crowd. It is a full-scale economic takeover of the desert. Ticket demand for Eala's round of 64 debut has become so extreme that even some Hollywood celebrities are having trouble finding courtside seats. And there are now serious discussions at the tournament level about installing giant screens outside Stadium 1, the second largest tennis stadium in the world, to accommodate thousands of fans who couldn't secure tickets but refused to miss the moment. But here is what nobody is talking about enough. While all of this is happening around her, the exploding prices, the merchandise frenzy, the Nike millions, and the crowds pressing against every fence on the property, Alex Eala herself has been spotted in Oregon and California looking more locked in than she has ever been. Not overwhelmed, not distracted, not performing for the cameras. Focused. She knows exactly what this moment demands. And she knows that none of it, not the crowds, not the contracts, not the noise, means anything unless she backs it up on the court. So, she made a decision that tells you exactly where her head is right now. Alex Eala is skipping the doubles draw entirely. She is putting 100% of her energy into the singles competition. No split preparation, no extra matches eating through her stamina in the brutal desert heat. She is here for one thing only. The big trophy, nothing less. For a 20-year-old to make that call, to leave ranking points and prize money on the table from doubles, takes a certain kind of clarity that most veterans don't develop until years into their careers. The experts noticed immediately. It signals the maturity she has been quietly building since her breakthrough in Dubai, where she defeated world number 7 Jasmine Paolini and announced her arrival to the entire tour. But none of that. Not the crowds, not the Nike deal, not the ticket chaos, is the most dangerous part of this week for Alex Eala. The most dangerous part is the draw itself. When the official 2026 Indian Wells bracket was released on Monday, the tennis world went quiet for a moment. Then it erupted, because the draw did not protect her. It didn't give her a comfortable path as a reward for earning her seed. It dropped her into the most brutal section of the entire tournament. If the seedings hold, Alexandra Eala is on a direct collision course with Aryna Sabalenka, the world number one, the Belarusian tiger, one of the most physically dominant players in the history of women's tennis, in the round of 32. People aren't paying four figures for that potential clash to watch a tennis match. They're paying to see if the Eala hijack can claim its most significant victim yet. And here is why the analysts genuinely believe it could. Indian Wells has always been a tricky court for Sabalenka. The dry desert air, the high bouncing surface, conditions that slightly blunt the raw pace of her flat power game. These are exactly the conditions where Eala's left-handed topspin, yet the shots she spent years perfecting at the Rafa Nadal Academy, becomes something close to a weapon Sabalenka has no clean answer for. Eala's victory over world number 7 Paolini in Dubai was not a fluke. Analysts are calling it a proof of concept, a live demonstration of exactly how she takes apart power players on difficult surfaces. A warning to everyone left in the draw. The betting markets have taken notice. Despite Sabalenka's dominance, the odds for that potential round of 32 clash are closer than anyone expected going into this week. But Sabalenka isn't even the only dangerous name waiting in Eala's bracket. To reach the world number one, Alex may first have to get past the defending Indian Wells champion or Venus Williams, the legend who is back in the Coachella Desert as a wild card. The experts are calling this section of the draw the Group of Death. And every match from Eala's round of 64 debut forward has the weight of a final. The atmosphere in the player lounges is reportedly tense. While every other player in the draw goes through their preparation, the shadow of Eala's fanbase hangs over the entire facility. Organizers have already confirmed that her matches will be moved to Stadium 1 to handle the scale of support traveling in from across the world. This is no longer just a tennis tournament. It is starting to feel like a reckoning. But if she survives the first week and takes down Sabalenka on that court, the sport changes. The conversation about who leads women's tennis into the next decade changes. And the explosion that started in California echoes all the way back to Manila and to every young player in Southeast Asia who was ever told they don't belong on courts like these. Now, the financial stakes behind all of it. The champion of the 2026 BNP Paribas Open walks away with $1.15 million. Over 64 million Philippine pesos for one tournament. But for Alex, the money is almost secondary. What she is really chasing, beyond the check, is the 1,000 ranking points that come with a deep run here. Points that could move her from number 31 into the world's elite top 20, into the permanent conversation about who the best players in this sport actually are. That is the real prize, and she knows exactly what reaching it would mean. Even with everything swirling around her, the Nike deal in the background, the sold-out stadium waiting for her debut, the world number one sitting on the other side of her draw, Alex was out on the practice courts today, grinding, working her serve mechanics for the thin desert air, dialing in the topspin angles she used to dismantle Paolini in Dubai, not celebrating, not soaking in the moment, working. Because she understands something that the crowd around her may not yet fully see. And the welcome she received in California, that is armor. But armor only holds if the weapon underneath it is sharp enough. This is what California is discovering right now. The girl who arrived in this desert is not just a cultural phenomenon. She is not just a branding triumph for Nike. She is not just a ticket sales miracle. She is a legitimate, tactically intelligent, physically prepared tennis player who has the tools and the hunger to go deep at a WTA 1000 event. And potentially much further beyond that. By reaching number 31, Alexandra Eala did what no Filipino in the history of this sport has ever done. She walked into Indian Wells with the right to be here, with a seed, with a bye, with her name in the official bracket as someone every other player in the draw has to account for. The shock in the locker rooms now is not about her talent. Everyone on tour accepted that a long time ago. The shock is about her arrival. Meet the precise moment when a player stops being a compelling story and becomes a documented, unavoidable threat. That moment happened this week. And on March 6th, when she walks through that tunnel and steps onto the main court in front of those thousands of Filipino flags. when the roar of the crowd hits its peak and the cameras find her face, what you will see is not a nervous young star fighting the weight of the occasion. And you will see someone who has been building toward exactly this her entire career. She isn't playing for herself anymore. She is playing for every kid in the Philippines who ever picked up a racket and was told the dream was too big, too far from reach. The players from places like theirs who look like them don't end up here. Don't end up seeded at the 5th Grand Slam. Don't end up standing across the net from the world #1 on the biggest outdoor tennis stage in the world. And she is playing for every single one of them. The desert heat is real. It is relentless. But it is nothing compared to the fire Alex Eala has been carrying inside her for years. She is ready. She has never been more ready. And she is walking into Indian Wells with an entire nation at her back. The main draw begins March 4th. Her debut is March 6th. The world is watching. If you want every update from the desert as this story unfolds, hit the like button, subscribe, and drop a comment right now. Type Champion Eala if you believe she is bringing that trophy home. The court is set, the crowd is ready, and the legacy of Alexandra Eala is about to write its next chapter.